We are following two breaking news stories at 6. A house fire in North Fort Myers. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, a fatal fiery crash in Lehigh Acres. This is video you'll only see on NBC2. We first broke you the story of this crash on Lee Boulevard at 4:30, and this is right at Lee Court. The road's been shut down now for 6 hours. NBC2's Chris Lovingood is live out there right now. And Chris, what's the newest information at this hour?
Well, Rachel, we're being told that at least one person is sent to the hospital with serious injuries, and the westbound lane of Lee Boulevard is still closed, and this is just some of the crime scene tape they've started to remove to let people come through, but that won't fully happen for about 30 minutes from now. I want to show you behind me. You'll see that there is a Cadillac Escalade sitting on top of that tow truck. That's one of the vehicles involved in this crash. Another vehicle, a Dodge Neon, has since left the scene, but that is the one that was caught on fire. Now, we were here as investigators covered a body inside that Dodge. Witnesses say they saw the Dodge driving fast, hit the median, then smashed right into the Escalade. Now, we continue to dig this morning to learn the official word on what led up to this horrific crash. And again, the westbound lane of Lee Boulevard is still closed right now. And of course, we're going to try to keep pushing to learn the name of the person who was killed in this crash. We're going to turn it over to NBC2 traffic anchor Terry Hornstein to let you know some alternate routes you might consider this morning.
Yeah, Chris, as you mentioned, still a mess out there on Lee Boulevard going on now for 6 hours. Take a look here at that red in your westbound lanes. Lee Boulevard completely shut down between Lee Court all the way to Ames Avenue. But FHP telling me that if you are heading out in this direction, if you do need to head west right now, or even really if you need to head east, you should avoid the area of Lee Boulevard all the way from Gunnery to Leonard, because it's going to be very slow moving. And if you're heading west, well, you just won't be able to get around this mess. If you do need to head out in this direction, if this is part of your early morning commute, if you're taking the kids to school this morning, your best alternates are Leonard Boulevard, which is just south of there, or you can head even further south and you can take State Road 82. I do want to mention there are several schools in this area. As we do get closer to school time, we do know school buses are already out on the roadways. Varsity Lakes Middle and Lehigh Senior High School are both in the area. You can take Gunnery to get to those, but of course you can see there are delays there as well. So this area, just a complete mess right now. Avoid it if possible. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 traffic alert.
Now to the house fire in North Fort Myers. The flames so intense, firefighters just had to let it burn.
Yeah, this happened on Grady Drive, just off of Hart Drive here. You can see on your map. NBC2's Gabrielle Shirley spoke with investigators in the last hour. Gabby, what are they telling you?
Well, Rachel and Clay, at this hour, we know that no one was inside the home, but a lieutenant with the fire department. He says that the tenants who used to live there were evicted within the past 24 hours. They were evicted, and now this. I want to give you a look at this structure. Severely damaged, really just a pile of rubble at this point in time. Now, all morning, since the flames were put out around 4:30 this morning, firefighters have been in that rubble, pulling it apart, perhaps investigating the cause of that. That is under investigation right now. They're not telling us that just yet. They tell us that they got the call around 4 o'clock this morning. They had the flames under control by about 4:30. Now, again, no one was inside that home. No firefighters injured in the flames. They say that the state fire marshal is on his way here this morning to look into the cause of this fire. I'm reporting live here in North Fort Myers. Gabrielle Shirley, NBC2.
Time for your first alert forecast this morning, and we're starting off with some fog. This is going to be the concern as you step out the door this morning. Visibility down to 0 in Immokalee, 1 mile as you look towards Southwest Florida International. It's 2 miles in Naples and Fort Myers. Punta Gorda, you're down to 3. So you might want to give yourself some extra time for that morning commute so you can drive a bit more cautiously with those low visibilities. Otherwise, it's a warm and muggy morning. We've got a warm, muggy day ahead. 67 to 74 degrees as you step out the door this morning. Our first alert live Doppler radar plus looking good, though. Up above that fog, we have mostly clear skies and no rain to track. The bad part about the no rain to track is that our fire danger is still high. We have a fire alert in place today. We'll continue with those mostly sunny skies, going up to 71 degrees at 8 a.m., 87 degrees at the noon hour, and 89 at 5 p.m. That's after topping out in the lower 90s. Coming up at 6:12, a look ahead to the next few days and more heat in your first alert forecast on the 2s.
6:04, more breaking news we're following this morning. A Collier County deputy was arrested in Lee County. Sources say Corporal Timothy Greenan faces contempt of court charges. The Lee County Clerk's website says Greenan was in a family court hearing Wednesday morning. It was about a divorce. We're trying to figure out if this arrest has anything to do with that court hearing. Canada's to let you know.
Right now, there's plans to bring 2 emergency rooms to the village of Estero. Naples Community Hospital wants to build a campus in Coconut Point. That's just a mile away from Lee Health is building a medical facility. You can see how close they are on the map. Lee Health's plan spans more than 160,000 acres. It will include outpatient surgery, a pharmacy, and rehab centers. They eventually want to build a hospital, but they need approval first. NCH proposed site also needs approval. If both sites are approved, 2 emergency rooms would be in right the same area.
If it's going to be one really, really big facility here, then I don't see a need for multiple ones, you know, in the same location.
NCH presented its application to the Village Design Review Board on Wednesday. It's a couple months long process that also includes applying for state approval.
Right now, 6:06 as President Donald Trump rapidly approaches his 100th day in office. His proposed tax plan has now been revealed. The administration says it's the largest tax reform in the history of the country. Now lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are reacting. Reed Binion reports.
This is called trickle-down economics.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi among several Democratic lawmakers hitting the White House over President Trump's tax proposal.
What the president proposed today is something that will increase the deficit by $5.5 trillion.
Included in Trump's proposal, a plan to cut the top tax rate for businesses to 15%, a reduction in the number of tax brackets for individuals from 7 to 3, and a doubling of the standard deduction. Republicans like Congressman Chris Collins expressed support.
Clearly, the administration and Congress in the House, we are on the same page.
But there are concerns about how to pay for the cuts, an issue that Democrats seized on immediately.
The Republicans have avoided the responsibility of paying for their tax cuts.
The White House betting on very substantial economic growth to pay for the cuts, an analysis dubbed dynamic scoring.
They're saying, oh, the growth in the economy will cover it. They call that dynamic scoring.
Economists call it unrealistic. And while congressional Republicans displayed a positive front in public, privately some are expressing frustration, others acknowledging the cost.
We do not have the luxury of driving up our deficit and adding to our debt. I'll go back to the word of dynamic scoring. Where does that get us? Does that fill the gap or not?
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
All right, 6:08 right now. We're told Lee Boulevard and Lehigh Acres westbound could open in minutes after a fiery crash. We're going to give you an update after the break on that.
Yeah, also we're continuing to follow breaking news of a mobile home fire in North Fort Myers where the cause is still under investigation.
And taking to the skies to find a missing loved one on the ground just ahead in 16 minutes, a new life-saving program. And just ahead in 8 minutes, a cross-country delivery making its way to Lehigh Acres. How deputies nabbed this guy.
Good morning. It is 6:12. It's time for your first alert forecast on the 2s, and it's warm. Temperatures right now come in at 67 to 74 degrees across the area. Cape Coral, you're 71. Naples coming in at 72 degrees. Then you add in some humidity. I wanted to show you this. Look at these feels like numbers. This is your heat index this morning. Now, this is some of the warmest weather I could find around Southwest Florida. 78, 79 for those feels like numbers as you step out the door. That humidity is also making for some fog this morning. Visibility is down to 0 in Immokalee. 1 mile at Southwest Florida International, 2 miles as you look toward Punta Gorda and Naples. Fort Myers reporting 3. You might want to give yourself a little bit of extra time for that commute this morning since we've got low visibility in so many locations. Our first alert live Doppler Radar Plus shows you we are off to a dry start this morning. We're looking at those mainly clear skies across the area. We're going to continue with mostly clear skies as we work our way through the day today and see plenty of sunshine. Here's your forecast mode. Winds coming in mainly from the south and southeast this morning. Couple of passing clouds, but the sunshine really wins out. Work our way toward midday as you make those lunch plans. We're still mostly sunny, a little more of a southerly turn on the winds. Breezes pick up toward 10 to 15 miles per hour, and as they come in from the south, they're sending in more heat and humidity as we go through the day today. 91 degrees for the high. That's warmer than average. We're usually around 87. Upper 80s as you look toward the coastline. Fire alert in place again today, and the next couple of days we stay hot. We're looking at 94 on your Friday, 93 on Saturday, and continuing with mainly sunny skies. At 6:22, we'll look ahead into next week with your first alert forecast on the 2s.
All right, over 6 hours now into Lee Boulevard being shut down westbound in Lehigh Acres. And this is the reason why. Well, we'll show you on the map where it is. A fatal crash happened overnight. At least one other person suffered some serious injuries. We're working to find out their names and what caused the crash. You can see now that that scene is clear, but we understand westbound is still shut down. So let's go to Terry Hornstein for some ways around it, at least while it's closed. Terry?
Yeah, Clay, again, that scene's starting to clear, but the westbound lane's completely shut down still on Lee Boulevard between Lee Court all the way to Ames Avenue. You can see that red there really building on your screen as people start heading out of the door because of that fatal accident. If you are heading out within the next couple of minutes, your best bet is to head south of there and take Leonard Boulevard, or you can head even further south and you can take State Road 82. I've been telling you about this all morning, but there are two big schools in the area, Varsity Lakes Middle and Lehigh Senior High School. This could affect traffic this morning with school buses out there, people heading to work in those westbound lanes. So again, if you are heading out within the next couple of minutes, do not take Lee Boulevard. Your best bet is to take Leonard Boulevard as an alternate. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 Traffic Alert.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart. Hurricane season is coming. Is your home ready? Visit stormsmart.com today.
From your Cape Coral News team, deputies say they caught a man picking up packages of pot from a home where he doesn't live. Lee County deputies say Roger Suarez sent the packages to a vacant home in Lehigh Acres. He lives in Cape Coral. A realty company listed the home on River Trent Court as vacant last month. Deputies noticed packages of marijuana being sent there. They say the same guy was coming to pick them up. They watched as Suarez came and picked it up. Families living across the street say they can't believe this was happening.
That just seems a little crazy to me. You wouldn't think that that was happening right here, and I actually had absolutely no clue that that was going on.
Deputies believe all of the packages Suarez picked up contain dozens of pounds of marijuana. He's charged for having it as well as planning to sell it.
Take a look at your screen. A man in Polk County tried smuggling $600,000 worth of meth. Officials say Omar Placina put 44 pounds of it inside these vases. He thought a partner was helping him sell it, but it turned out that person was actually an undercover cop. The man is in the country illegally. The bill making it easier for big chains to sell liquor is headed to the governor's desk. The bill gets rid of the law requiring that a physical wall separate hard liquor and big box retailers. Small liquor store owners have argued that the bill will hurt their businesses. On Wednesday, the bill passed in the Florida House. Support for the bill, though, broke party lines.
But I think we should do our due diligence, the people that's watching and the people in this chamber as parents, and not let the kids get to the liquor that we have in our own homes. Just so that we lock up our guns and protect our guns, we should lock the liquor up or not buy it. Tear down this wall.
That bill passed by just one vote.
Legislation limiting local control of Airbnb is headed to the House floor today. The bill stops cities and counties from restricting vacation rentals. Supporters say the bill helps generate tourism dollars by stopping encroachment on rental companies like Airbnb. Opponents say strangers could get into your neighborhood. We'll let you know what the House decides.
United Airlines is taking new steps to avoid another kicked-off passenger fiasco. The airline says it is scaling back on overbooking flights. Also, United employees can now offer up to $10,000 to try and entice people to give up their seat. It's part of a new 10-point plan as the airline tries to recover from its PR nightmare. And you can see the CEO of United Airlines later this morning on the Today Show.
A change in management is costing people more money. People in Golden Gate Estates will have to pay 30% more for water because Collier County took over Orange Tree Utility. The county says they warned people their bills would go up, but some people are not happy about it.
I think people are going to be happier with the customer service that they might see. I think a little bit more personable people, at least with my experiences with that.
They still get the dirt. Water's not clear. There's no pressure difference. Everything's the same.
Collier County says they have consultants looking at how they can improve service from the former Orange Tree plant, but they don't know exactly what they'll be doing on site yet.
Fort Myers Beach is putting the finishing touches on their new bike and pedestrian master plan. Estero Boulevard is already under construction. Crews are working to repave and add a bike lane there. The new master plan focuses on smaller streets running east and west. Residents say the new master plan would make the beach safer for bicyclists and pedestrians. It calls for more bike paths, crosswalks, and signs. Fort Myers Beach hopes to adopt the plan sometime this summer. Allegiant Airlines says it kicked a woman with a medical condition off of a plane out of concern for her safety. Roxanne Rains was trying to move back home to Maine. It took her hospice staff a month to make the arrangements for her to fly. Rains had not been on a plane since the 1970s and took medication to relax. She says she was ready to fall asleep to endure the flight when she noticed the attendants talking.
"Are you sure you're okay?" I said, "Yes, I've told you, I'm tired. I took a Xanax and I'm anxious and I just fell asleep. And I haven't been on a plane since 1976, so I'm just really anxious here, and I'm going home." And the next thing I know is they're up there talking, and then all of a sudden well, you're going to have to get off the plane. And
the airline says the decision to remove Rains from the plane was out of an abundance, as I mentioned, of caution. It says Rains was eventually rebooked.
New legislation seeks to protect airline passengers this morning. Several senators introduced the Ticket Act. Ticket stands for transparency, improvements, and compensation to keep every ticket holder safe. If passed, it would guarantee a boarded passenger has the right to fly. It also addresses compensation limits for ticket holding travelers. The legislation comes after a man was forcibly removed from a United Airlines plane. Maybe it's the Trump effect. Twitter is making a big comeback, adding 9 million active users in the first quarter of the year. That shattered Wall Street estimates, sending Twitter stock soaring. Twitter now has 328 million monthly users. That's still well behind Facebook and Instagram, but the renewed interest is a welcome sight for the site because it's become kind of stagnant lately.
620, a popular new TV series among high schoolers, has some schools concerned. 13 Reasons Why is a cautionary tale about teen suicide. The central character explains her suicide on tape she leaves behind. Some schools, though, are concerned that young viewers may identify too strongly with the character. Now they are warning parents.
That's part of the concern about the glamorization of suicide, that somehow if you end your life, that you're going to be able to exact your revenge. You're going to be able to have an effect on people from beyond the grave.
I discussed it with my daughter, and it made her more mindful of the impact of things that her actions have on other people that maybe she may not have considered before.
Psychologists say it's best to watch the show with your children and make sure they always know help is available if they need it. An Arizona wildfire is barely under control. It's already burned more than 20,000 acres. Fire officials say the Sawmill fire southeast of Tucson has now charred more than 40,000 acres. The Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management said the fire is only 7% contained. It forced evacuations too. Fire officials say the fire was caused by man. People in Arkansas are dealing with some severe damage this morning after a line of storms tore through the River Valley region. Those storms included tornado warnings. It brought high winds that downed trees. It also caused a huge section of the roadway to wash away. There it is. The storms knocked out power to thousands in the areas. So far, no injuries have been reported.
Chief Meteorologist Haley Webb joins us once again, and we are talking about something I feel like we haven't talked about in a while, fog out there.
Yeah, we've got warm, humid conditions in place, and it's allowing for that fog to form this morning. In fact, there's a lot of places around Southwest Florida with low visibility. Look at this. Immokalee is down to 0. Southwest Florida International reporting 1 mile. Naples, you're reporting 2 mile visibility. You've got Fort Myers and Punta Gorda both sitting at 3 miles and Clewiston at 5. So as you're heading out this morning, you may want to try to leave a couple of minutes early so you can drive a bit more slowly, a bit more cautiously, and keep an eye out for many spots that have reduced visibility this morning. So just kind of pay attention to what you're doing on that drive. This is our First Alert Live Doppler Radar Plus. Up above the fog, we have mostly clear skies, dry conditions, and that's how we're going to stay through the day today. Temperatures right now range from 67 to 74. That's warm. It's a good bit warmer than where we were yesterday for most locations. And through the day today, the heat and the humidity continue going up. This is our forecast mode with the winds. Today, the forecast is all about those winds. As those winds come in from the south, they pump in that heat and humidity. The wind speeds will pick up toward 10, 12 miles per hour as we go into your lunch hour, and even up toward 15 as we head into the afternoon. But throughout the day today, they go from being southeasterly this morning to southerly through midday and south-southwesterly this afternoon. You'll notice that southerly component all day, and that means the heat and humidity keeps getting pumped into Southwest Florida. 91 degrees for our high. We do still have a fire alert in place. Even though we'll have some humidity, we're not going to get rain, so fires can still start and spread easily today. 2-foot seas, a light chop on the inland waters if you do have boating in your plans. And through the next few days, well, look at all this heat. Temperatures are going to stay in the lower 90s for your highs, lower 70s for your lows. We're usually around 87 for highs this time of year. We're still looking pretty good the next couple of days. At 6:30, I'll have your planner for the day and your first alert forecast on the 2s.
We are following breaking news out of Lehigh Acres. You're taking a live look right now. Lee Boulevard is now back open after an early morning fatal accident there. Take a look. You can see traffic is flowing along just fine. You can still see the remnants of where that accident was. Let's head over to our maps to show you where it was and the delays it could still be causing a little bit of this morning. Again, that fatal accident on Lee Boulevard and Lee Court. The area that was shut down was between Ames Avenue and Lee Court on Lee Boulevard. But again, this area is now back open. You just saw traffic now moving along just fine. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 traffic alert.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart. Hurricane season is coming. Is your home ready? Visit StormSmart.com today.
624, if a loved one goes missing, a drone may be used to help them find them. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office demonstrated a drone that would do that on Wednesday. It would be a part of its Project Lifesaver program. It uses a wristband to track those who may wander off. The drone uses an antenna to track that wristband. It can do this from 3 miles out. This gives first responders a better chance of finding someone and in faster time.
But it's for a lot of people: Alzheimer's, dementia, Down syndrome, and autistic. We have adults and we have children. They're all part of this program.
It costs around $48,000. The Sheriff's Office is looking into getting a grant or donations for it.
Take a look at this, if you dare. A town famous for witch trials. They have this spooky old-timey light fixture. It's even freaking out the mayor. This is in, appropriately, Salem, Massachusetts. Look at the top. Can you see the face?
Absolutely.
Kind of sort of looks like a person in there. Freak me out if I walk by that.
You guys see it?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty creepy.
Looks like a Thomas the Train character. like
flat face.
Like Percy or something on front of the...
And thank you, Clay. Now I'm no longer afraid.
There it is. My son played with a lot of Thomas the Train, so that's
you're having flashes all over the place.
Flashback right there. Yeah.
6:25 is your time right now. An NBC2 exclusive. A mother speaking only to me about her attempt to rescue a stranger. Ahead at 6:45, how her selfless actions nearly took her own life.
Too much traffic, but there could be a fix in store. NBC2 uncovers monitoring devices that will watch the way you drive.
And NBC2 News Today following 2 breaking stories. First, an investigation into a mobile home fire and this fiery fatal crash in Lehigh Acres that shut a road down for more than 6 hours. A live report in just 3 minutes. 6:29 breaking news at 6 o'clock. Lee Boulevard and Lehigh Acres westbound just reopened after being shut down for 6 hours because of this fiery crash that happened in Lehigh overnight. We know right now 1 person died at this scene. This happened on Lee Boulevard right near Lee Court. NBC2's Chris Lovingood first broke this story for you at 4:30. Chris, what's the latest out there?
Well, Clay, as you mentioned, the westbound lane of Lee Boulevard is back open. Traffic is moving smoothly this morning. But again, that was not the case earlier after this crash where 1 person died and at least 1 other person was sent to the hospital with serious injuries. Now, let's show you the damage that was caused in this crash. You can see it for yourself. A witness tells us they saw a Dodge Neon driving too fast, hit the median, and slammed right into a Cadillac Escalade. The Dodge caught on fire. We were here on scene as first responders covered a body inside that Dodge Neon. Now, Florida Highway Patrol hasn't quite told us just yet what specifically we have here, but you can count on NBC2 to stay with this story to figure out what happened and tell you the latest. I'm live in Lee County. Chris Lovingood, NBC2.
NBC2 is also on scene of an active fire investigation. A mobile home was engulfed in flames in North Fort Myers.
Crews got that call just before 4 o'clock this morning, rushing to a home on Grady Drive. NBC2's Gabrielle Shirley joining us again live from that scene. Gabby, what's the latest?
Well, Clay, Rachel, Grady Drive is still closed, a portion of it this morning because of that mobile home fire. Let me take you to the structure here. Severely damaged by those flames. Firefighters obviously have been on the scene since they got the call about the flames. They arrived around 4 o'clock this morning. They had the fire out around 4:30. Now, I've seen them going through this rubble. They pulled off the roof of the home. They actually drug a hose across it. They were putting out some hot spots, and now I can hear them in the distance. It appears that they are using a chainsaw to cut up some rubble. Now, again, fire call came in around 4 o'clock this morning. They had it out by 4:30. No one was inside when firefighters arrived. They could not even get into that home because the flames were just so big. Now, they tell us they're working to learn the cause of this, but the tenants who used to live in that home, they were evicted less than 24 hours ago. The state fire marshal should be on the way this morning to continue this investigation. We'll be sure to keep you updated. I'm reporting live here in North Fort Myers. Gabrielle Shirley, NBC2.
Good morning. Time for your first alert forecast on the 2s. And this morning we are starting off with some fog. Southwest Florida International visibility is down to 1 mile. Naples visibility down to 2 miles. Same kind of thing for Punta Gorda, down to 0 as you look toward Immokalee. Fort Myers visibility is a little better at 5 miles. You still want to give yourself a bit of extra time as we go through the next hour or so for some of this fog, reducing visibilities for many areas. Temperatures right now range from 68 to 74 degrees across the area. That's a warm start for you. And we've got lots of heat and humidity on the way today. Up above the fog, it's mostly clear skies, dry conditions, and we'll stay with lots of sunshine today. 71 degrees at 8 a.m., 87 degrees at the noon hour, and 89 at 5 p.m. under those mostly sunny skies. Coming up at 6:42, a look ahead to more heat in your first alert forecast on the 2s.
Again, as Chris Lovinga just told you, Lee Boulevard is now back open after an early morning fatal accident between Lee Court and Ames Avenue. The westbound lanes were shut down for more than 6 hours this morning, but again, that roadway is now clear. You are safe to head out in this direction if you are heading to school or heading to work this morning. Now let's take a quick live look outside near Luckett Road. This is in Lee County as well. You can see there's a lot of fog out there. Haley's been mentioning this morning. Use some caution as you head out on those roadways. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 Traffic Alert.
From your Cape Coral News team this morning, cameras are being installed at major intersections to monitor congestion and crashes. This is part of a Florida Department of Transportation project to collect traffic data. And you can see the areas there on your screen. Now you see Christina Mendez. He's live at the intersection of Veterans Parkway and Country Club Boulevard with more on what drivers think about this plan. Christina?
Well, traffic at this intersection has really picked up this morning, and that's just one reason why FDOT wants to continue monitoring major roadways like this one here. I spoke to several people, and they all seem to agree that having these devices in place will make them feel safer.
Frustration building as walkers and bikers wait to cross the road.
A lot of traffic and long lights and people running lights because they're too long, so they don't want to wait.
And some drivers pushing the limit of the changing traffic signals.
I see a lot of accidents, people trying to race through, especially here on Chiquita.
The Florida Department of Transportation is working to build out the Advanced Traffic Management System, or AMTS, a system of devices that manage traffic.
I think it would be a good idea. I think it would help show what is going on in Cape Coral.
FDOT will be adding monitoring cameras to intersections like Veterans Parkway and Country Club Boulevard, Cape Coral Parkway and Skyline Boulevard, plus Chiquita Boulevard and Cape Coral Parkway.
I don't think it could hurt, especially when I see driving out here the carelessness of drivers.
The cameras will watch the way drivers use the roadway. Other devices will be installed to improve data collection, travel times, and vehicle detection.
I have a business here, and every day we're just watching somebody just get hurt around here.
Bonita Springs, plus east and west roadways connecting to US 41 will also be included in the $9.2 million grant project. Residents of Cape Coral believe having these devices could be a step in the right direction for change.
Just trying to get somewhere fast. Time is of the essence.
You might be wondering when you can expect to see these devices in place here. Well, they're supposed to be installed between this summer and early fall. I'm live in Cape Coral this morning. Christina Mendez, NBC2.
New numbers show drivers killed in crashes are more likely to be on drugs than to be drunk. It's called drug driving. There have been 164 car crash patients since the start of this year in Southwest Florida, according to Lee Health. 26 involved marijuana. In 2015, 43% of drivers tested used some sort of drug during a fatal crash, whereas 37% tested above the legal alcohol limit. Experts say people don't realize the effect of marijuana when driving.
A lot of my, especially younger patients and middle-aged patients will say, no, I don't drink alcohol. And then I'll say, well, what about weed? What about marijuana? Oh yeah, I smoke that.
Dr. Susan Hook of Samaritan Health and Wellness Center in Cape Coral says 10 out of 90 patients she sees a week are suffering from substance abuse. Her team says they are going out to schools to educate youth.
A sign too obscene to show you on TV is riling up some neighbors in Cape Coral. We're talking about a board at Northwest 4th Terrace. It's a wooden board that has profanity spray painted on it. And neighbors tell us it's been around for months. They've called code enforcement, they've called police, even called the Humane Society to check on the dog. Soon after those calls, the sign showed up, and that was the last straw for neighbors who've been quiet until now.
I'd like him to do something with that dog and take the sign down, because I'm sure somebody else would love to have that dog or take way better care of it, and just get rid of the profanity, man. How old are you?
Code enforcement confirms they have been out to the home twice this year for a boat parked in the driveway and for chickens in the cage. The owners say they are embarrassed and will take it down.
A Naples man who claims to be best friends with O.J. Simpson says he was a victim of road rage. The story gets a little weird. He says he was talking to reporters about O.J. just before this incident. Thomas Scotto says he missed a turn, so he went into the next parking lot. Then soon a driver of a Bentley followed him. That driver was upset with Scotto, saying he cut him off. He got out of his car and then started punching Scotto. That driver was identified as multimillionaire businessman Gary West. West eventually drove off and Scotto called the police. Scotto says he couldn't defend himself even though West is 25 years older than him.
Didn't look that old, and he was a big guy. All I remember him is winding up like this and aiming at my eye and punching me as hard as he could.
West has not been charged with any crime, but the case is still under investigation. West is facing a civil suit, however.
A North Fort Myers mother is looking for answers after her daughter was shot to death while in foster care. 18-year-old Heidi Shin and her foster mom were killed by her foster father last Thursday. Then he killed himself. Neighbors who live nearby not surprised at the news. NBC2 has discovered Jensen, the man that did the killings, has a criminal past. He's been arrested 3 times. Twice in the last 10 years for hitting someone.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to know too, why they didn't help her and the other children. Everything, we didn't get no answers.
Well, we questioned DCF about why Heidi was allowed to be in the care of a criminal. They would not answer. Neighbors also say there were often fights at the Jensen's home.
Well, this is some great news out of South Fort Myers High School. They're going to host their first ever academic signing day today. It's kind of like National Signing Day for athletes, but this one is for regular students to make their college choice with the same fanfare. It's being held at 12:30 today at the South Fort Myers High School gym. Over 150 seniors will declare their majors and sign letters of intent to schools all across the country. And then one student will win a $10,000 scholarship.
Awesome. Hey, this is pretty cool too. The Everblades completed a miraculous comeback at Germain Arena last night. The Blades beat the Orlando Solar Bears in a decisive Game 7 in the first round of the playoffs. That series got off to a rough start. As you know, maybe the Everblades are only the 6th team in league history to rally from 3 games down to win the series. Go Everblades. Good luck the rest of the way. 6:39. Don't go anywhere if you have a second. An unbelievable story is coming up right now about a local woman who saw a woman in need, so she stopped to help.
So I pulled up and I ran over to her, and she was crying and upset.
Ahead at 6:45, why her life was almost lost, but it's now changed forever. The exclusive story coming up next.
Good morning. It is 6:42. It's time for your first alert forecast on the 2s, and it's warm. Temperatures right now range from 68 to 74 degrees across the area. Naples, you're coming in at 72. Cape Coral sits at 71 right now. As far as our winds today, we don't have a whole lot of a breeze just yet, but you'll notice it's from the southeast. We're going to see more of that southerly turn on the breeze today. The gusts are going to pick up. The winds are going to be picking up. The winds themselves, they'll head toward 10 to 15 miles per hour this afternoon. But right now, with the light breezes in place and plenty of humidity, we do have some fog. Visibility is down to 0 in Immokalee, 1 mile at Southwest Florida International and in Punta Gorda, 2 miles as you look toward Naples. Fort Myers, your visibility a little better at 5 miles, but you might just want to give yourself some extra time around the area this morning for that commute, especially through the next 45 minutes or so with those low visibilities. First Alert Live Doppler Radar Plus showing you a dry start and clear skies up above that fog. Here's your forecast mode today. That light southeasterly breeze for the early part of the morning. By mid to late morning, those winds turn a bit more southerly. We're looking at those mostly sunny skies. We'll continue with mainly sunny conditions through the day today. A few passing clouds come in on that southerly breeze, and we are heating up. We'll take the temperatures into the lower 90s, going with 91 for the official high, just a few upper 80s at the beaches. We still have a fire alert in place again today. Mostly sunny skies the next few days and keeping those highs in the lower 90s. Coming up at 6:52, a look ahead into next week with your First Alert forecast on the 2s.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart. Hurricane season is coming. Is your home ready? Visit StormSmart.com today.
Again, just want to remind you that Lee Boulevard is now back open after that early morning fatal accident along Lee Boulevard and Lee Court. The westbound lanes were shut down for a very long time, but they have since reopened, so you are safe to head out in this direction. Heading south of there, also in Lehigh Acres, very near to this wreck, there's also a second accident on Marvin Avenue and 5th Street Southwest. This is a crash with injuries. It's in a residential area, but you can expect some delays this morning. Let's take a quick live look outside near Alico, also in Lee County, if we can. There is some fog in the air. You can see it up there. Back there, if you are heading out, use some caution on those roadways. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 Traffic Alert.
6:45. What a story here. A North Fort Myers mom of 5 is facing a tough reality this morning after stopping to help when she saw an accident on I-75.
Doing what she calls the right thing almost cost her her life. I talked exclusively with the mom from her hospital bed.
Early Sunday morning, Danny Hagman was driving home alone on I-75 just south of Luckett Road.
I was tired and I'm like, did that really just happen?
The only other car on the road in front of her lost control and crashed. Danny knew she had to stop to help.
So I pulled up and I ran over to her and, she was crying and upset.
Danny called 911, then waited with a woman for emergency crews.
She was shaking and in shock and I said, honey, are you cold? And she was like, yeah, a little bit. And I said, okay, well, I have a blanket in the back of my car. Let me go back and get it.
Not seeing any cars coming, she went to grab the blanket.
I heard a bang and then I just felt it. And I felt the car hit me.
Danny was pinned between the two cars, losing a lot of blood.
My kids are the only thing that got me through that because I just kept thinking, no, I'm coming home to you. I'm not leaving you without a mother. I'm coming home to you.
She was rushed to the hospital and immediately into surgery. Then
I knew as soon as I woke up.
She learned the extent of her injuries.
So I asked my wife, I was like, how much of them are gone? And she was like, above your knees. And I said, okay.
Danny had to have both legs amputated. Now she's relying on the support of her family. They know Danny's a fighter.
She sat straight up. From a laying down position, she sat herself straight up. She's lifting her legs. She doesn't need help. She's already determined and she's not going to take away from where she's going to make herself go in life.
Her biggest worry, her 5 kids, ranging in age from 10 years old to 8 months.
That's hurting her the most, is not being home with them.
It's also the force driving Danny to recover.
I don't intend on driving out of rehab in a wheelchair. I will be in my prosthetics and I will walk to all of my kids' things and I will take them to the beach and I will do everything that I was planning on doing with them this summer. And I don't consider that a long road. I just consider it is what it needs to be and I'm gonna get it done, the end.
Danny and the family, they are so thankful for the community support so far and for the EMS crews and the doctors who have all come forward to help. Even an orthopedic specialist has contacted them to do free prosthetics for Danny, and others have come forward to make her house handicap accessible. But they did not have health insurance, and the costs are mounting, the hospital bills, as you can imagine. So there's a You Caring page set up by a close friend, and we're going to put a link to that on our website and our news links, and we're also going to have it on a link in this story on the web.
Here Danny is trying to do the right thing to help someone else out, and that happens to her. And to hear her strength and her power to move forward,
She's an inspiration. She is. So.
Incredible. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and the family.
Absolutely. And we should also know that the driver that Danny stopped to help is under investigation, and troopers are waiting on toxicology results. We're going to have more on the story tonight at 5 o'clock. You're going to hear more from Danny on her recovery. We're also going to hear from her mom and her wife. So that story coming up tonight at 5.
I appreciate you sharing that story with us, Rachel. Thank you. It was 6:48 right now.
10 seconds.
Fort Myers woman was on the Wheel of Fortune last night. Angel Woods competed against 3 others, making it to the final round. She did pretty good.
Want some money? A lot of it.
That's pretty good. It only took her 2 seconds to solve the puzzle. Good question. She ended up winning more than $61,000. Congratulations.
Breaking news at 6:48, a home supposed to be vacant bursts into flames.
And a fiery fatal crash in Lehigh Acres. We're going to update you right after your forecast on the 2s and a check of the roads with your top stories. Stay with us.
Good morning. It is 6:52. Time for your first alert forecast on the 2s, and we do have some fog in southwest Florida this morning. Naples, Southwest Florida International, and Punta Gorda are all reporting in at 1 mile visibility. Immokalee reporting 0. Fort Myers sits at 5. So you might want to give yourself some extra time for the commute this morning, just so you can drive a bit more cautiously, a bit more carefully with some of that reduced visibility around the area. Up above the fog, this is our first alert live Doppler radar plus, showing you we've got a dry start this morning with mostly clear skies, and that's how we're going to stay today. We'll see mostly sunny skies through the day. Temperatures right now range from 68 to 74 degrees. It's 71 in Cape Coral, 72 degrees as you look toward Naples. And as we head through the day today, we'll continue with plenty of heat and humidity. Our forecast mode focusing on the winds. Remember, we're going to be mostly sunny today, but the winds come in light from the southeast this morning. As we work our way through the morning and head toward the lunch hour, they turn more southerly. They pick up speed toward 10 to 15 miles per hour. We'll continue with 10 to 15 mile per hour breezes, mainly from the south and south-southwest through the afternoon. Those breezes pump in plenty of heat and humidity. It'll help our temperatures go all the way into the lower 90s. Expect 91 degrees for the high, and we do have a fire alert still in place. 2-foot seas with a light chop today, and the next few days we're in the 90s right on through the weekend into next week. That's your forecast.
All right, we are following more breaking traffic news, this time out of Charlotte County. You're taking a live look just south of Jones Loop Road. This is the northbound lanes. It's really backed up because of an accident involving a traffic trailer. Traffic is down to 1 lane. You can see those heavy delays in the area. The camera just flipped around, but there are very heavy delays if you're heading northbound towards Charlotte County area. You can see those delays really building in the area. Give yourself a lot of extra time or take 41 as an alternate. Let's head over our maps. We're also seeing another crash on I-75 right now. That crash at the intersection with Palm Beach Boulevard. You can expect delays here as well. I'm Terry Hornstein with your NBC2 traffic alert.
Traffic on NBC2 is sponsored by StormSmart. Hurricane season is coming. Is your home ready? Visit StormSmart.com today.
We've been bringing this as breaking news all morning long. A mobile home fire is under investigation this morning. It started just before 4 a.m. in North Fort Myers on Grady Drive. Firefighters could not get to the home when they arrived because it was already fully engulfed in flames. The house was empty, but a lieutenant told us that people who used to live there were recently evicted within the last 24 hours. NBC2 is staying on the scene.
And a fatal crash is under investigation in Lehigh Acres. It's the one that Terry Hornstein has been covering for us all morning. It happened late last night on Lee Boulevard and Lee Court. This is exclusive video we want to show you from the scene. We know that one driver is dead. Another driver is in the hospital with serious injuries. Witnesses tell us a car was driving fast, hit a median, then crashed into an SUV. We can tell you that Lee Boulevard westbound is now open in Lehigh for your morning commute.
We're working to find out why a Collier County deputy was arrested in Lee County. Our sources say Corporal Timothy Grennan faces contempt of court charges. The Lee County Clerk's website says Grennan was in a family court hearing Wednesday morning. We're trying to figure out if his arrest has anything to do with that hearing.
We've learned this morning traffic cameras are being installed at major intersections in Cape Coral. You'll see them at Country Club Boulevard and Veterans Parkway, Skyline Boulevard and Cape Coral Parkway, and Chiquita Boulevard and Cape Coral Parkway. Those are the intersections. The cameras and other devices will be collecting traffic data, including crashes and congestion. The system will help improve traffic signal patterns.
For the first time ever, drivers killed in car crashes were more likely to be under the influence of drugs, not alcohol. 43% of drivers in fatal crashes in 2015 had either legal or illegal drugs in their system. 37% were above the legal limit for alcohol. Lee Health says out of the 164 car crash patients this year, 26 involved marijuana.
Guess what's back? That warm and foggy morning weather here in Southwest Florida.
We're seeing it.
We've got the heat, the humidity. It's setting us up for that fog. Visibility is down to 1 mile in Punta Gorda and Naples. 0 in Immokalee. A little bit of improvement at Southwest Florida International, now sitting at 3, but just keep an eye out for that fog this morning. 87 degrees by the noon hour, 89 at 5 p.m. after topping out at 91. Look at these highs. Lots of heat and humidity the next few days. Highs will be in the lower 90s, lows in the lower 70s, and we don't have any good rain chances in the next 7 days either.
All right, take a look at your screen. If you're heading out towards Charlotte County or are in Charlotte County, this is what you're looking at. This is I-75 in the northbound lanes near Jones Loop Road. Traffic is down to 1 lane because of an accident. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office is out there. They say the traffic could be backed up like this for the next hour. So really keep this in mind if you're heading out, or you can take US 41 as your best alternate. There's also a crash southbound on I-75 near Palm Beach Boulevard in Lee County as well. Of course, I'll keep you updated on both of these accidents throughout the morning.
And Lee Boulevard, which was closed down for 6 hours, back open this morning after a fiery fatal crash. We're working to update that story. Here's the exclusive NBC2 video.